So, okay, so point seven, it becomes your hobby. And this is something you've talked about in your book. You said it was. And this reminded me, I was thinking about this reminded me of a funny story. So about, gosh, it's probably about 20 years ago now. Actually, it was a long time ago. But when I lived in the States, a group of my best friends, best mates, came over to visit me, and we all went to Miami for a weekend. So there was 4 or 5 of us, and they came over. It was really exciting, and we all went to Miami, and we had a weekend in Miami. And they're all mates of mine who are big drinkers as well. And I remember after that weekend, and obviously we spent the entire weekend just, drinking, and that was all we did basically. And I'd bump into somebody like, at a social event, and they'd say, "Oh, what did you do?" I said, "Oh, I had some friends come over from the UK. We went to Miami for the weekend." And they go, "Oh, great. What did you go out on a boat? Did you go out on a fishing boat?" And, no, no, we didn't go out on a fishing boat. They go, "Oh, did you go see a sports? Did you see some basketball? Did you go and watch a football match?" And I said, "No, we didn't. We didn't go out to watch a football match. We didn't, because basically those are really good things to do, and they're exactly the sort of things you should do when you go somewhere like Miami.
Yeah.
Our hobby was drinking. That's what we were there to do. We were there to drink. And one of the guys, I remember we got hammered one night, and we went out for one of these big American breakfasts in a diner, ordered beers at breakfast. That's what we did that weekend. We just drank.
Yeah. 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 No, it's crazy. It's so true. Well, I think I spoke about this on the previous podcast, but I went to Berlin with my son recently. And last time I went to Berlin was 20 years ago, and it was about the drinking, the nightlife. We did, see some things, but not much. And like when I went back, I was like, I don't remember this area. I don't remember being here. I don't remember that. It's like, yeah, because literally I was either hungover or looking for a place to go for a drink, and it's totally different. But for me, it was my hobby. I often, and I put this in the book as well in more detail, but when you go for a job interview, or even if you're talking to someone and think, oh, what do you do? What do you do in your spare time? And you come up with some bullshit. Like I think I used to say, oh yeah, I like mountain biking. Yeah, quite into that. Okay, on the weekends. Yeah, and oh, that's really nice. Yeah, and then you'll fall into the trap because it'll be someone who really is into mountain biking, and they'll be like, oh, why don't you come with us next weekend? Then you're fucked. But the reality is, what I wanted to say, or what I should say, is, yeah, hobbies. Yeah, on the weekend, what I really quite like to do is cocaine and drink. Yeah, it's that that gets really hammered on a Friday night, then Saturday's pretty much written off. Go again on Saturday. Yeah, Sunday maybe massive dinner, and then yeah, that's my weekend.
Mm.
So, and it was, the reality is, it's what I did in my spare time, and that.
Yeah, yeah.
that
You basically prioritize drinking,
yeah.
over pretty much anything else. So, right, okay. I'm a little bit conscious of time because I feel like
No,
we're
no,
going on a
crack
little
on.
bit. No, no, it's
Keep
fine. So we've
going.
got three more to get through.
You
This is
what?
good. So, number 8 is your health starts to suffer. You notice, we've touched on this before. I used to get pains in my side. We both put on a ton of weight. We were both quite fat. And you notice things, and I do think about that now. I'm 56 years of age, and I'm fitter and healthier than I was when I was 45. A lot fitter, a lot healthier. I see pictures of me. In fact, my kid, a bit like you, my kids don't really remember me drinking, and they see me now, and then I'll show them a picture of me when I was 45, and they are literally like, "Mum, why did you marry this guy? Look at the state of him. Look at him. Like, who is that?" So, your health suffers.
Yeah, it really does. It's there's no doubt about it. I the same as you. I was much heavier than I am now, and putting off. I think as well is that it's that silent health thing. You start to think about life, and we all do, right? When you get a bit older, I don't know how old the general population watching this is, but I'd say once you hit about 45, you do start to think, Well, I think it happens when you remember events that that were your parents and you were a kid. So I remember my father's 50th birthday. And then when you approach it yourself, you're like, shit, like that's me now. And then you start to think, well, you know, in a morbid way, maybe, how much time do I have left? You know, what is this life going to look like for me? And you just think, well, I've got a choice, haven't I? You know, I could either try and live as best I can, and you know, you never know what happens. Life is can throw things at you, or I could, you know, be in an accident or whatever. I don't know, but give yourself the best shot. You know, that's what I think. And the reality is, if you keep drinking, you keep smoking, you keep taking drugs or whatever you're doing, and you're pushing into your late 40s, your 50s, you know, it's probably not going to end well. You know, it's probably you're not going to be, you know, it's only going to get worse. You know, even now, not drinking, eating pretty well, doing loads of exercise, you know, it's harder to stay in shape because
Mm.
age is against me, you know, and that's, you know, and then if you're doing all that stuff on top of you, then you know your health is going to suffer, and there's just no doubt about
Yeah,
it.
and exactly that. And what happens when you don't drink is that you start to prioritize health and wellness. You know, you
Yeah,
just do, and you feel great about it. And I think that thing about, you know, because I think that's always the sort of counter argument to, and someone can always find the guy that drinks, you know, a bottle of whiskey a day and smokes, you know, 30 cigarettes a day and live you know, they'll always point to, well, you know, like Jan's my wife's dad, you know, he smokes
mm,
and he doesn't drink a lot, but he drinks whiskey every day,
yeah.
and he seems like he's going to outlive all of us. But so they can always point to the sort of, you know,
But it's the
the
rare. It doesn't happen like that often, you
no,
know.
they always point to the anomaly, and it's not about, you know, not necessarily longevity of life. It's about quality of life. It's about how you live every day and how you feel. Okay, so I agree. So final two signs that you might have a drink problem, and I'll blend these into one so we can sort of wrap up with these. The ninth one is you drink even when you don't feel like drinking. And you know, we've all done that. In fact, I have done that thing where I absolutely feel terrible.
Mm,
But I have done the thing where I think, you know, that I think there's a term, hair of the dog or whatever. I'll have a drink just to get back to the point. You're searching out the feeling drunk feeling. You know, you want to get rid of the
yeah,
feeling shit feeling and you want to go back to the feeling drunk feeling. And the follow on from that, which is point 10, is the anxiety that it causes when you finally have to sober up and deal with life, which most of us do. And I wrote about this in the book that I've written, which is that I'm not a morning person. And when I was running my own business, I would typically wake up in the morning with a feeling of not terrible, but I feel the pressure and the stress of the things I had to do, my responsibilities. If there were problems with the company, it was all about me. And I'd have that sort of feeling of slight feeling of dread. When I drank, it's like it went into overdrive. It was heart beating, feeling sweaty, palms feeling sweaty, sort of you know, the temples feeling, and just almost feeling terrified of the world. Like, and the drink just fucking made it so much worse. And honestly, since I've stopped, I just don't get it anymore. You know, I get worried about things and there are things that cause me anxiety, but I can deal with them in a way which is way more contextualized and much more on an even keel.
yeah, I totally agree. And I know that was a big one for you, the anxiety thing. And but everyone gets it. You know, I can remember the Monday mornings, or just, you know, I remember one time I went away with work, and one of the directors of the company had asked to have a meeting at like 9 o'clock, oh, no, 8 o'clock or something, over breakfast. We were away, all away in this do at a hotel, and I ended up getting, luckily I was with the CEO, so it wasn't so bad, but I ended up getting absolutely hammered. Didn't get to bed till like 4 or 5 in the morning. and of course I missed the breakfast, like, so I had to go up to him like 9 o'clock when I finally did make it down and apologize,
Yeah.
because I felt it was the right thing to do, obviously. But like, the anxiety was just through the roof, and I was just feeling awful. And I was like, and you're trying to do that thing where you're sort of standing back a bit because you probably stink of booze, and you're like, I can't get too close to him, but I've got to talk to him and apologize. And that and then there's things where you get to work and something's happened. I work in support, and something bad has happened, and you've got to kind of enter into a crisis situation. And I can remember one time just sitting there thinking, I can't even manage my own life, let alone trying to manage this crisis. So yeah, that for me was bad. But yeah, you don't drink when you feel like it. For me, oh God, countless times where on an evening, friends would come over something, and you've been, like, maybe I'd been drinking for two nights in a row, big time, and just I wasn't feeling like it, but I would, and I'd start again, and I'd do it. And same with you. I've had times where I've wanted to drink on a lunchtime because I was feeling so crap that I was thinking this is the only way out.
Yeah, exactly. Right, that was a good session. We got through quite a lot there, and I feel like we've been talking a lot. So there's a lot in there, and we can always circle back on these. So if any of these ring true for you and you're listening to this, either because you're thinking about quitting, then definitely keep listening to these, seek the help, because I'm pretty sure that you do need to stop your drinking. And if you have quit, maybe this is a nice reminder for all the shit, because just listening to this for me, it was like, thank fucking God I don't have to deal with any of this shit anymore, because it's such a relief. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
it's 10:25 on a Sunday morning here in the UK. I'm going to finish up this podcast. I mean, look, just that it's a Sunday and I've done this already. I'm going to take
yeah,
the dogs out for a walk. I'm going to go to the shops. I'm going to have a lovely day. I don't feel hungover. I don't feel stressed about next week. I don't feel stressed about Monday. And it's just I want to. I just would. For me, this podcast is. I want to give that to everybody. I want to give that feeling to everybody,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it makes life so much better.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah. Okay. We'll call it a wrap. So thanks very much for listening. Help us as much as you can. Do all the usual things. We really appreciate all the comments. We
Yeah,
appreciate all the feedback.
thumbs up for
And
it. Yeah,
yeah,
subscribe if you haven't.
yeah, yeah. And never quit quitting. That's it from me.
That's it from me too. We'll be back next week.
That's it from him. See you next week. Bye for now.